I'm Liz Larson with The Art of Frosting. Welcome back, or welcome if it's your first time here. Today we're going to talk about piped on orchids. Now this is a flower for more of my advanced decorators. For you beginners, I want you to practice this one too. For you advanced decorators, you're going to get this one really easy because it's really a combination of flowers we've done in the past. You'll see the hibiscus petal here, as well as the daylily petal here, or the stargazer lily petal here. Also, you see some similarities to the daffodils, all of which we've done before. If you haven't seen those videos, you might want to go back through my collection and practice those as well. We're coming up on spring, and we're going to need all of them. So let's get started. There's lots to learn here. So for the orchid, we need a couple of things. This is just a box top from a cereal box, so any kind of a thin cardboard would work. And I've drawn this shape on it, and it's kind of an exaggerated key shape. So that's how big a quarter is, and you can see how big around it is. So that is going to be the piece that really makes your orchid 3D. Then we need this piece to go down in. We also need some straws, and we're going to cut the straw to about this length. So it's about maybe an inch and a half, 2 inches. We need our number 124 rose tips and some bags for sure, and a pair of scissors. So what we want to do with these is once we've traced them out, we just want to get those cut out. Now it doesn't have to be perfect. This is going to be covered in icing, and the icing is going to go over the edges. So we just want to cut it out. And then you need to squeeze it in half. You can see here, about half, like that. And then this piece bend back ever so slightly. So you can see it kind of makes a little hole there. And then you're going to tuck them down in your straw. And that is the piece for your 3D orchid. So we're going to start with the straight petal on the orchid. There are 2 different kinds of petals. And the first one, you need to build a pad like this. And the angle for this one I'm going to show you from here is this way. We're going to move up, anchor, rock forward, and move back down. So this one's a little tricky, and it does take a little bit of skill. But you're going to start back here, move up the center, start to angle, rock forward, and you want to touch because you want to create a point. Then you're going to rock backwards and come down the other side. So you've got a pointed petal. I'll do it again without the pad so you can see. You're going to come up one side, point, rock forward, come back down the other side, like that. The next petal is this petal. It's a rounded ruffle petal. It also needs a pad, so we're going to have 2 with pads and 1 with our straw and cardboard here. So we want to start with a pad, move in a kind of a circular direction, and kind of come down to a point. I'm going to start around the back here, and I've moved the camera up so you can see my wrist. So I'm coming back in this way. I'm going to guide, and I'm going to start backwards like this and just start to ruffle around. Now when I get to here, you can see I can't really go any further. I'm going to turn my turntable. So it's really important to have your turntable when you're doing this. You're just going to ruffle all the way around so that you have this split here. The split here then gets a little bit of a stem. Okay, so now we're going to put it all together, and you can see I'm at a different angle so you can kind of get a better idea. We're going to put down the 3 pads, and this needs to be in a triangle. So if you imagine the point of the triangle here and the 2 corners of the triangle here, these are aiming out of the points of each, out of the point edge of each triangle. The next pads need to go here, and these are for our rounded petals. And so you can see I've already got the shape of my orchid before I even put a petal down. Now, you want to do your straight petals first, and you want to do a light pressure in the inside to the point, rock back, and reduce your pressure so you come to a point here in the center of your flower. And again, down to a point, and again. Okay, so there you've got your 3 straight petals. Next, you want to start on your rounded petals and begin to ruffle out. Now, you want these to be big enough that they do slightly cover these 2 petals. You don't want 5 independent petals. All the petals need to relate to each other, and so you want this to spread out and actually cover slightly, and then come down to a point, a very slight point in the center of your petal. The next step then is your straw and your cardboard. And once again, we're going to ruffle. Okay, so we obviously can't put this down into the turntable, but this is what we would do. We're going to grasp the back of our straw with our scissors, and this part of your petal is aiming towards the center, and we would place it in right here. The next step is filling the bag and the color striping, which is really important for the orchid. So I've got a number 124 rose tip, and we're going to stripe the bag with the dark purple. I want that towards the center, so my darkest is going to be in the middle. The body is going to be more lavender here, and then the tip closest here to this outside edge is going to be white. So I've got 3 layers of color. So I'm using just an 8-inch round hair single just for the purpose of showing you how to place and do this orchid. So the cake itself is going to be very simple, and I want to just put down a simple spray underneath of it just to show you how you might place this. I'm going to use an S spray. Meaning that it's shaped like an S. And on one side you pull in, and on the other side you pull in. So your base is shaped like an S. And your orchid will be kind of placed off to one side. Now I don't have a border on here yet, and I want to continue this down, I think. Next, just to be quick, I'm just going to cut this into a V shape, the end of my parchment here. And I'm going to use that. And I'm going to use that as a quick leaf. And use it just like any leaf tip. Squeeze, ruffle, and release to a point. I'm going to bring these all the way down here. Now, this is not actually orchid foliage, because orchid foliage are just big, kind of flat leaves, and they're not very pretty for what we're going to do here. They don't really create a spray, and so we're not actually going to do orchid foliage. But what we're going to create is a pretty varied spray underneath our orchid. So just about like that. You could add other kinds of flowers. In fact, what we're going to do is just add a couple of rosebuds, not even rosebuds, sweet peas here. So my orchid's going to go here. First thing I want to do is get my placement. So I'm going to put my pads down. 1, 2, and 3. And notice how much I'm using my turntable. Okay? Next, I'm going to get my round pads here and here. Okay, in. Bring it all the way out and back. Now these can also be a little bit curved if you wish. Just a little bit out to the side. Okay, come back in, pipe in my rounded or ruffled petals here. Okay, our next step here is to finish out our 3D petal. Okay, so now I want to take, so I cut off just a little, it's a little long, grip it by the back, and just push it down in. About there. Now I need to come back in with my rose tip. I'm going to turn it upside down so the pointed tip is down, and just come right down here on top of my straw and blend it in with my flower. So we're not quite finished. We have one little more piece of business to do. We want to take a skewer, bring it up, and kind of create the hole here where the top of our straw might be. We want to take either a skewer with a nice sharp point on it or a little paintbrush. And I'm just using the lid of my food coloring here, but you want to get your skewer a little damp or put a little liquid in your food coloring here. And then we're just going to create dots in the throat of this flower. Now, you're going to want to wipe off your icing, come back in, and you're just creating these dots all in the throat of your flower. You want to come down into these petals as well, not the straight petals, just your ruffled petals here. So that is your basic orchid. While I use my leaf tip here just to create little borders to finish off the edge of this cake, I want you guys to get another good look at all angles of this orchid. Now, we didn't do a lot with the foliage and the flowers around it in the spray, but there are many, many more things you can do with that. I just want you guys to have a good solid foundation for how to do this flower. This one does take a lot of practice. You'll want to watch this video a few times. Really, the petal placement is the most important thing. So that's the basic orchid. Now, there's a million more things we can do here. There's lots of other color combinations that you can use, lots more to do with the foliage and with the flowers and with the sprays, and lots more to do with placement. But I really wanted you guys to have one video where you could really see how this is done, get the petals down, get the placement down, and we'll move on from there. We'll add it to other things later on this year. But good luck with this one. Really practice. Don't be discouraged if you don't get it the first time. And definitely send me your progress on Facebook. We're having a great time over there, sharing my work, your work, Leah's work, things from all around the world. I really appreciate the hard work you guys are doing and the amazing work you're doing. It's all really beautiful. So, of course, you can find me there at The Art of Frosting on Facebook at www.theartofrosting.blogspot.com, where there is a whole catalog of work there. Lots of ideas and things for you to look at. So, thanks for joining me. We'll see you all again really soon. Happy decorating.